Working more hours is also counterproductive and has diminishing returns. Here's the thing nobody talks about when they tell you to grind. There are diminishing returns. After about 4 hours, your brain is fried and you become so unproductive. Your brain can only focus for so long before it burns out. Even if you force yourself to work 16 hours per day, only like 4, maybe at most 6 of those hours would actually be productive. Like, there's studies proving this. The brain just can't focus that many hours per day. Successful people actually don't work that much. Do these successful people actually work 16 hours per day anyway? I really doubt it. If they are working so much, how do they all have time to do all of these hobbies? How do they have wives, etc.? How is Elon Musk tweeting all day and banging all these women if he is grinding so much? I thought he was I thought he was sleeping on the factory floor and working all day every day. If this is true, how did he how did he impregnate like 15 women? How is he one of the best Diablo 3 players in the world? The whole thing just doesn't make any sense. The truth is, they're just bullshit. Most regular people bullshit about how hard they work. It's not surprising that rich people do the same. They most likely work the same number of hours as everyone else, maybe a little bit more. Why I will no longer grind. You can only put in so many hours. You can only put in so many hours. Would working harder be the deciding factor on whether or not you succeed or not? Is the difference between a normal person and a millionaire simply that the millionaires work harder and are not successful because you're just lazy? No, I don't think so. And here's why. The average person works 8 hours per day, 5 days per week. So imagine you worked as much as humanly possible, just going full David Goggins mode. The most you the most you could possibly work is 15 to 16 hours per day. That's the absolute max. And that might seem like a lot, but is it really? At most, you can double the amount of hours you're putting in. Is this enough? If you're making 40K per year and you double your hours, you would be making 80K per year. But you're not a millionaire. Think about it. The most hard work you can do, the most hard work can do is make whatever you're currently doing, but twice as much. When you actually think about this, you realize it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. If I took my entire year, and doubled it, would I be a millionaire? No. So why would just working double the hours make you a millionaire? If success was just down to hard work, wouldn't we all be millionaires in 2 years by that logic? If you weren't a millionaire this year because you worked 8 hours per day instead of 16, wouldn't simply working 8 hours per day for 2 years be the equivalent of doing 16 hours for 1 year. Wouldn't that be the equivalent of working as much as you possibly could? Also, by that same logic, if working as hard as possible led to success or guaranteed success, wouldn't 3 people working together always succeed? Any 3 people could put in 24 hours per day of work. If they work at 8 hours per day, wouldn't they just be outworking everyone or outworking any one person? 3 people working together would outwork Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, etc. So if success just came down to maximizing the amount of work you do, if working really hard led to success, wouldn't any 3 people easily become millionaires and build a successful company? Did Mark Zuckerberg just put in more hours than you when he became a millionaire at 19? Did he really just put in more hours than a 30-year-old who's been putting 8 hours a day for more than a decade? Then it's literally impossible. The truth is, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, etc., would still be billionaires if they worked 4 hours per day. It would have just taken them longer. Like maybe Amazon would have come out in 1996 instead of 1994, or Mark Zuckerberg would have made Facebook at 21 instead of 19. At the end of the day, it wouldn't have really made a difference. If you don't succeed with 4 hours per day, then chances are you wouldn't have succeeded on 16 hours per day. So genuinely ask yourself, if I did double the amount of work this year, would I be a millionaire? The answer is no. So if the most you can possibly work is double, then work is probably not going to make the difference on whether or not you succeed or not. It's probably more likely down to what you actually do rather than how many hours you just put in. It's really about working smart and figuring out what to do. So there's really no point in trying to work so many hours. It really makes no difference at the end of the day. I think the lesson here is you shouldn't listen to these bullshit influencer business people when they tell you to hustle and spend all your time working. When spending all your time working does not lead to success. These people are lying to you. Success does not come from sacrificing all of your waking hours grinding. I think success is more like solving a puzzle than running a marathon. You succeed by working smart, not just throwing as many hours as you can at something. The people who succeed don't work harder or more than they just do the right things. Hours are not the limiting factor. How many hours you put in isn't the determining factor for success. There is no point in wasting your life away working so much. Working more hours is counterproductive and has diminishing returns. Here's the thing nobody talks about when they tell you to grind. There are diminishing returns. After about 4 hours, your brain is fried and you become so unproductive. Your brain can only focus for so long before it just burns out. Even if you force yourself to work 16 hours per day, only like 4 at most, 6 of those hours would actually be productive. And this has been proven in like scientific studies and stuff. And on to my next point. Successful people actually don't work that much. Do these successful people actually work 16 hours per day anyway? I really doubt it. If they're working so much, how do they all seem to have time to post on social media and do all of these hobbies and stuff? How is Elon Musk tweeting all day and banging women if he is grinding so much? I thought he was supposed to be sleeping on the factory floor and working all day every day. If this is true, how is he tweeting all day? How is he how did he impregnate like 15 women? How is he one of the best Diablo 3 players in the world? The whole thing just doesn't make any sense. The whole thing just does not make any sense. Truth is, they are just bullshitting. Most regular people bullshit about how hard they work. It's not that surprising. Average people, they most likely work the same number of hours. They
Got
most
it.
likely work the same number of hours as everyone else. Maybe a little bit more.
Fair.
They most likely work the same number of hours as everyone else. They most
Uh,
likely work the same number of hours as everyone else, maybe a little bit more.